ordinarily during the intro, you can't see me because that band comes up right there. So I can sit back here and do anything I want. And I was getting ready to, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, dang it.
Tub was about to pick his nose. He had a boogie.
All kind of stuff. Picking the nose is the smallest of things.
You can always turn your camera off, Tub.
Nah, here I'm in now. Once I'm in, I'm in. What are you drinking, Eric?
This is Diet Coke and a local whiskey called Founding Fathers Distillery.
Founding Fathers Distillery.
Yeah, they're out of High Point. Yeah. Maybe me and old Stan can go hit them up sometime.
I have water in a hydro flask cup, which is legit. Listen, if we were gonna do advertisements for cups, here's the one right there.
Hydro flask.
I have water.
Hydro flask. Water for the whole family.
Water. Yeah. This is water too.
Water.
THC water.
No, it's just regular old fashioned.
Are you doing Lent, Marcus? Is that what's going on here?
Lent? No.
Whatever. Is that it?
Lent.
Right.
Lent.
Yeah.
I'm
already Southern Baptist heritage.
Yeah, we don't. Well,
Southern California Baptist.
There it is.
Exactly.
Altogether different.
No. Just in case you guys didn't know, the third member of our crew here is Eric Parker, Bold Liberty.
We're 5 minutes in. Hey, Eric.
Hey, nice to meet you. All right, let's get this thing going.
Yes, I see them. So today we have a very interesting episode. As many of you know, this podcast originally started off as a 2A podcast, and we talk about 2A stuff that was going on in America. And today we're going back to the origin story. So recently in Florida, back in September, the semi-socialist state of Florida, we're not going to call them full socialist.
No, it's near like California.
You still have taxes and people telling you how to
Let's
raise
pretend
your
like
kids.
You're not the one talking about taxes.
Literally,
California guy
trying to right now.
It's not pointing at another state talking about taxes.
Right now, Florida governor is stealing Tubbs' idea about getting rid of private taxes. I don't think he's going all the way in, but
it's dangerous. Listen, well, you know what? We'll cover that on my show.
Your show.
Okay.
Right. So, back in September, Floridians took back their right. I almost said won their right, but there was nothing to win. You took your right from the government to open carry firearms. And there was one man who took it upon himself and literally sacrificed his liberty to do that. His name is Stan McDaniels, and we're going to bring him in. Stan, how you doing this fine evening?
Oh, man, I'm blessed. I'm blessed here in North Carolina, escaping the state of Florida for a little while here. The tyranny's been quite a bit the last few years since 2022 because, as you said, it was just September that the District Court of Appeals finally ruled on this case. But this happened back on July 4th, 2022. So it took over 3 years to get this decision. And the tyranny since, the persecution since has been absolutely terrible via the Florida red flag laws. So, naturally, I have a problem with some of the administration today in D.C.
Right.
So, go ahead, Marcus.
How did you get to this point back in 2022 where you wanted to challenge this law? What was the catalyst behind that?
Well, I guess I really started paying attention locally to the local politics in my hometown there, Pensacola, in 2018, and just started paying attention. And I decided earlier in 2022 I wanted to run for a county commission, and so I did. And I knew I had to come up with a different way to get some publicity, and I knew that being arrested would be give me some publicity. I mean,
the Jill Stein approach.
Well, I mean the Trump approach too. I mean, he's used.
Well, yeah, it didn't hurt him either.
he's used the courts to get publicity quite a bit, and it really did work out for him as well. And so I picked July 4th. It was just 2 weeks after we had the Broom decision in 2022.
Could you explain that decision real quick, just for those not paying attention? like me.
Sure. Yeah. New York State Rifle versus Brune. Brune's actually the bad guy, so I don't really like calling it Brune. I'm trying to stop calling it Brune because Brune was the bad guy. He was the officer that was pressing their unconstitutional concealed carry scheme. It was a racket, is what it was, and it had been in place for 111 years. A law, an unconstitutional law in New York, in place for 111 years, struck down by the Supreme Court. And so I knew that that reframed the whole picture of the law, because in 2017 there was another challenger to the open carry, and he lost. That was Dale Norman. He lost in 2017 in Florida. And I knew the timing was right. And so I staged a protest. I invited all the county commissioners. I only had one response back from one of the commissioners whose brother would be one of the future judges I would see to first take away my guns in 2023. So, and he said he supported the Second Amendment, but ultimately I was arrested and put through more court battles moving forward. And, it's been a tough road to hoe the last 4 years, but I've been hoeing it and I'm keeping on climbing, even through this.
So tell us what exactly you did on that July 4th event.
So I picked a corner at the courthouse. It was it wasn't a very busy road. It was Main Street and Balin. But it was in front of the courthouse, and I just stood on the corner there with my pocket Constitution in one hand, waving at people with my other hand, and I usually appendix carry. I had my concealed weapons permit, and all I did was tuck in my shirt so that you could see the handle of my weapon, and I waved. I started at 9 a.m. that morning. We had about an hour worth of rain, where I had to sit back underneath the parking garage. And then I made it till 2:30 before somebody called the cops. I'm pretty sure they saw my Facebook live and called the police from there. But I never got to find out who made that call yet. So.
And so explain what happened when the cops showed up.
Right. So the first officer shows up and he says, do you mind if I take your weapon from you? And I said,
yes, I do. Yes, very much so.
All right. And then 3 other officers showed up. I spoke with them for about 30 minutes before they finally relieved me of my weapon. And they sent me on my way. They said they were going to put a warrant in. And instead of arresting me that day, they put a warrant in. And Judge Kinsey, who now has my family law case for custody of my sons, is the one who signed the warrant in 2022. And she's now in charge of my family law case as well.
Yes, can't be any conflict there, I'm sure. So, real quick though, without having to get into exact dialogue, what were they saying when you were out there talking about? What was their argument? What were they pushing against you? What were they saying?
Oh, this is Florida law. There's ways to change the law. And I said, yeah, here I am doing it.
Here I am.
And so, and I think I even mentioned that I think Clarence Thomas was ready to hear my case, and so, and I even got the sergeant to read the Second Amendment. And you see him pointing at it as he's reading it out of my pocket Constitution. Yeah. And so,
but here's the thing. Even down here, they put it very clearly. It can be visible to the ordinary side in a non-aggressive manner.
Well, is that now or is that before?
No, before. Even before. When it was just
no. Before. Okay, since 1987, open carry has been banned.
Right. No. But if we had a concealed carry, like you said, you had a concealed carry permit. Because I always keep mine also. It's just easier. But I remember it says in there that if you're wearing it and if it just happens to become visible, and you know that's what they're saying.
Like your shirt pop up
yes,
or something.
and so they're saying if it's to the ordinary side of a person in a non-aggressive manner, there's no issues. And so technically, that's kind of what you were doing. It's not your fault that as you're waving, your shirt pulled up and
No.
Well,
he was
Stan-
more intentional.
Stan intentionally tucked his shirt
no,
into his
no, he
pants.
did not.
No,
Well,
I did.
No, you did not.
It's
Listen,
the
that's why I want to
case-
be your attorney. No, you didn't.
The
You
case
just
is over,
happened.
right? The case is
No.
over.
That case is over.
That-
that
Okay,
case is
so
over.
if you watch the audit, I think he did a really great job with the
I like that
the
page.
audit video. He did one on me. I didn't know he was doing it until it came out, and he does a very in-depth, a very thorough review where he does give, spoiler alert, he gives me an A rating and commends me on my battle for the Second Amendment. But you also hear the one officer Martinez, and he's saying, oh, well, you're not briefly displaying it, because I said, hey, I've been here since 9 a.m. And so those types of, revealing your gun is supposed to be briefly, some type of accident, not on purpose, right? And so I did this intentionally to change the law.
And
Wow.
and so
spoiler
Salute
alert.
to you.
I know it kind of worked, right? Spoiler alert. I mean, I know you're still dealing with things. There's hardships in your life, but somebody had to do it.
I changed the law. One man was able to change the law because of our wonderful Constitution. Because
that's why we needed to have you on here, is because that's a great example to all Americans. One man can change this, but you've been paying a price because the government's come after you for doing so, the powers that be. So that's what sucks about it. Yeah.
And like before I guess it's just a continuation of the conversation. Anything else about that day that sticks out to you that we need to know before we move on? Because I think we'd all like to get into like the legal battle and how things progressed forward through the judicial branch of our government, if you will.
Sure. Yeah. I would just recommend going and watching that the audit video of my arrest. That it tells you the whole story of the arrest. And he does a very thorough job. He even gives the police an A rating too. So it's definitely worth the watch. And we can get on into the court battle that ensued since, for sure.
what was the warrant based on? What did they say was the reason for the warrant?
That I was openly carrying a firearm. And that's just as simple as it gets down to. I was intentionally open carrying a firearm to challenge the Second Amendment, the open carry bill in Florida.
So I have a question real quick, Tubb. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Did you hire an attorney before you decided to do this, or at least have an attorney's phone number that you were going to call?
Nope. I did.
Well, thank goodness they didn't take you to jail that day. It gave you time to find one day, I guess. And hopefully you found a good Second Amendment attorney.
Well, I've got to, give a shout out to my buddy Larry Downs Jr. They ended up running my warrant on the 10th. I turned myself in. I spent overnight in jail so that I could see the judge the next day and see if they would release me on my own recognizance. They didn't do that. The bond was $1,000. They lowered it to $500, which really meant nothing because to pay a bondsman, it's $100 either way. But my friend Larry Downs Jr., he's a plumber, a local plumber. He'll be running for office in the next couple of years as a libertarian.
Sweet.
And so y'all might want to have him on one of these days. He's a really awesome dude. But he came to my aid and signed my bond and helped me get out of jail. And then I had two lawyers step up pro bono to handle the case. A local guy, Chris Crawford, big thanks to him. And then Eric Friday out of Jacksonville.
We know Eric Friday.
Yep.
He's just an awesome dude. He called me on Saturday, and he had a whole crowd of people at a gun event in Ocala.
He's legit.
Telling me thank you, and that was awesome. Eric's
I think I still have my picture on my phone that night we were with him.
Yeah.
Eric
because
Friday,
he was actually friends of another attorney friend of ours. And so we got there. I remember I sent him the thing. I says, "Hey," I said, "I see you sent the picture." He goes, "Hey, that's an Eric Friday right there. You see
Yeah.
that it is?" Like, sure enough. So I was a little thrown off there for a second because when Eric said, "Hey, you give a shout out first to a plumber," and I'm like, "Wait a minute." You got two attorneys, but that plumber came through, dude. It was the plumber.
Right now, Shia LaBeouf's probably giving a shout out to that random lady at Mardi Gras. You know what I mean? That bailed him out. So
yeah, listen, I mean, getting out was the first step, man.
Yeah.
Getting out was the first step. And listen, Larry's been good to me throughout this whole process, even my subsequent arrests. He's helped me out while I've been in jail. And I really appreciate Larry Downs Jr. He's a great guy, and he's going to be running as a libertarian for a county commission seat, I believe, in 2028. So
where's he at?
In Escambia, in Pensacola.
Escambia. Okay. All right. So I hope Joe Hanush is hearing that. Let's get him on before he's an actual candidate. Let's kind of give him some insight, see how he's going to attack him down there.
Yeah.
All right, as the plumber, as the freedom plumber.
Yeah, he is the freedom plumber, man, and I'll tell you, he doesn't hold back. He's a real funny guy. He likes to he makes it funny, and I just love him. He's awesome, dude.
All right, so why did that process take 3.5 years? And kind of what
that's what I wanted to know.
The show, like that's a Donald Trump thing. Remember, I said, wait a minute. I said, isn't that specifically what Donald Trump was talking about? Was situations similar to yours about when he says take the guns and due process later? Was very similar to what you had going on. So what happened in the 3.5 years?
So that was July 4th, July 10th. I had the warrant. I think we finished trial in early 2023. I'd have to go back and look at the dates again. And the idea was that I would get convicted. Of course, they filed a motion to dismiss based on the Second Amendment, and that this is unconstitutional. Of course, the judge denied that. We went to trial, and a jury of my peers found me guilty, and I was sentenced to 6 months probation. And I filed an appeal bond, and so I didn't have to serve the probation. I had to visit, I think, 4 months out of those 6. I had to visit for 4 months out of those 6, but I didn't pay a penny. I didn't pay a penny to them some bitches. All right.
I would have loved to have been in that jury, because that is a perfect time for that pesky nullification thing. Right there is a perfect time to go, hey,
But you got to convince how many other people, you know what I mean? Like,
this was a misdemeanor, so I had less of a chance of convincing one, because you only get 6 jurors in a misdemeanor case, not 12. So, I think the smaller numbers, it makes it even harder to.
Before you went to that protest, did you know it was likely that this was how this was going to go? Did you have an idea? I'm going to be arrested. I'm going to be convicted. I'm going to appeal. Like, did you understand that before you went there? Or do you think free state of Florida, the cops are going to get me? They're going to agree with me. They're on my side. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. You're a smart guy. I think you had an idea of the way this was going to go.
Yeah. Listen, I knew that the possibility of me being arrested was very high. Okay. I mean, I guess there was a small percent chance that I wouldn't be arrested. And the fact that I wasn't arrested that day on July 4th, they knew the optics. Getting arrested on Independence Day. Right?
For a Second Amendment freedom.
That's not good optics. All right. And plus I was running for office. I think that gave me a little extra clout there. As far as convincing these officers not to arrest me that day. So they ran the warrant. But the sergeant was even on the phone with his boss, which I'm pretty sure, I can't prove, but it would have had to been somebody pretty high up in the police force there. Maybe not the chief, but somebody high up in the police chain of custody there told him not to arrest me that day. Because he wasn't acting on his own, but he was making those calls because I had a good argument here, right?
Yeah.
And obviously valid now that we have hindsight. But after you lose in court, then you file your appeal, and that goes to the District Court of Appeal. and I'm in the 1st district. And from there, it's just a slow cog, man. They're overloaded with cases at the District Court of Appeals. It is a lot of injustice happening in Florida. I know that our governor and everybody in Florida that's in politics likes to spout out this free state of Florida bullshit. But I'm telling you, it ain't that way. When you really get caught up in the cog of the wheel, Florida is not a free state.
But in fairness, we a lot of times will compare it to like Marcus, and we go
California.
Listen, we're not California, so we tend. That's when we get to be the free state in comparison to others. Like actually, so when Eric and I were candidates, not Marcus because he doesn't leave the garage, but when Eric and I were candidates, that was part of the issue. Remember, that's when it was COVID stuff and all those type of things. Everyone was like the free state of Florida, and Eric and I were like, no. Listen,
we still got shut down.
Confused outside because everybody outside of Florida was like, man, look at Florida. Like, no, it's not what you think. Just because we're slightly better than some of the other ones doesn't equal freedom. And so you were probably here during that time, so you know exactly, because it was everywhere. Like I know people outside of Florida. Everybody's like, yeah, but Florida, you guys have all the freedom.
It's
I'm like,
wide open.
Yeah,
like,
but do we?
They're arresting people on the beach here too. You know?
Yes. Yeah. They did roadblocks. Okay. I mean, I guess
roadblocks going from Georgia into Florida. Florida had a checkpoint, not Georgia.
Alabama,
they didn't care. They said get out. They didn't care.
Yeah,
Florida was stopping people at the state border, and you. I mean, I guess you could say no, I'm not doing it, or what they ask you to take a test. No, but yeah, because I worked in Georgia, lived in Florida, I had to go through there multiple times a week.
Oh, you had to go through that?
Yeah, daily because I worked at the Navy base.
Go ahead, Marcus. We taking all your time.
All right,
go, Marcus.
I just wanted
there.
I just wanted to say that California is a far freer state than Florida.
No,
I'll tell you what. We have a black governor, as he.
That is true. You know, black governor.
As he so eloquently stated, he's one of us this week. So I will have no bash. Excuse me, sir. I will have no bashing of the great state.
Give him a pass, Marcus.
That's my brother.
Give him a pass.
Yeah.
You guys are the same black. I agree with that. You guys are the same black.
Hey, do you think Newsom says it with an A or a hard R, Marcus?
Oh, he's over here with the A, bro. You know, we over here smoking ribs.
Listen, around his house, it's a hard R.
I mean, it's no different than when Tubb gathers his family around.
That's usually what I do.
Tubb's family.
Remember, mine is. I'm throwing it in the hard R's in the family. But because that's what's funny when I was talking about the intro, how I'm usually covered. And usually what I'm doing during that time, I'm flipping people off. I say the N-word all the time. I'm just like, and I couldn't tonight because you had me in the wrong spot.
Look, the hard R and roar, Bob.
Yeah, that's a pretty hard R.
So, Stan, when it went to the appeals court and they originally ruled in your favor, correct? Or did they?
So, okay. So you file the paperwork for the appeal. It gets approved to go to appeal. And then, you make it through the appeal. They file all the paperwork. Thankfully, I had the lawyers to do that. And I didn't have to worry about any of that. They did file it for oral arguments. And that happened in October, I believe it was October 16th of 2024, when I finally had my oral arguments. And so it took that long just to get from 2022 all the way till almost, almost the end of 24 to get my oral arguments. And I went. It happened in Tallahassee at Florida State. And so they had a bunch of students come in to watch as well, a bunch of law students. And so I'm sitting down waiting. All the law students show up, fill up the courtroom. And then the judges walked in. And I thought I was in trouble because as these judges walk out, it is a three-panel. It's a three-panel of judges, and it was three women. And I was like, oh,
well, you had a good run. Like,
I mean, I really thought I was screwed, man. And but you know, the lawyers come out and they start making these arguments, and at one point, one of the judges asks the state, and she says, "Do you at least concede?" All right, and he did, and I knew right then. I knew right then when the state conceded and then tried to double back, that they didn't send their best and brightest, and that I had won.
I got lucky that day.
I knew that day that I had won, but then it still took, you know,
another year,
almost a year to have the decision made. And it was on September 10th. Unfortunately, the same day Charlie Kirk was shot. God rest his soul.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Yeah. So yeah, I heard about Charlie Kirk before, and I was in jail. I was in jail at the time of the decision for a violation of injunction, and this has all been happening through and because of this open carry case. Those closest to me thought I was crazy, and I'm not. I'm just standing up and doing my duty for the Constitution. I was peaceful in my protest, and was able to communicate very well with the police. And I changed the law. I did everything I set out to do. I got the publicity I was looking for my campaign. I got 22% of the primary vote against an incumbent with $0 advertising, which is pretty significant for a first-time person running. You know, it's not a win, but I still chalk it up as a win because I think it's pretty well.
I mean,
see, but
the law.
The thing is because you were willing to do something that they know people won't. Because here's what happens. A lot of people be like, oh, I believe my Second Amendment right. But once the cops show up and start threatening stuff is when they know that people tend to cave. Like, they may make that stance, or right about that point, they're not willing to go to jail for it. They're not willing to fight it for 3 years. And they know that. Like, they know that overall people are not going to go that far because people don't want to be inconvenienced enough. And so it's nice to know that you said, hey, I'm going to put it out there. And I'm going to run this risk wherever it goes, which is good. Because I think it truly is people like you that are willing to make a stand, say, I'm in on this. And I'm willing to take what comes at this. Because if not, that's how we lose freedoms, is when they push on this and people start caving. And then they just go to the next thing. And if we don't get more people across a number of topics, not just Second Amendment stuff, but if we don't get people who are willing to stand up and say, listen, you can't just push me around. I'm willing to be in for the fight if I have to. And I think that if we don't get a level of that as a nation, we're in a lot of trouble because they know that people are afraid to interrupt their lives for stuff. And they're
afraid to lose. They're afraid to lose their well-being, their lives, their income, and all of that stuff. And that's one of the thresholds of slavery that is
that you and Gavin were talking about?
Well, just in general.
You and the brothers, but Gavin.
I had a question on this because I found one thing curious, that the state didn't they said they weren't going to appeal the ruling. I'm like, if you weren't going to appeal the ruling, why were you fighting it in the first place? Were they just like, oh, this guy thinks he can usurp the omnipotent government, so we're going to take this until the very end, and then we're going to concede we shouldn't have ever done this at all?
Well, listen, I went and I saw my state representatives, the two in District 1 and 2. I'm very close to the line there, so you know, and they come around all the same meetings, and neither one of them, Michelle Salzman or Alex Andrade, were willing to do anything about it or even mention it to the state legislator. Okay, and they still have yet to do anything about it. They haven't put anything on the schedule this year. Last year, DeSantis, for last year's session, DeSantis was calling for them to do it anyways. Everybody knows my case was going through the courts. Okay, everybody in power knows that my case was going through the courts, just awaiting the decision. And they had to have known that the decision was going to come down in my favor. And yet they continued to do nothing about it. They continued to persecute me through the courts. And I haven't seen my sons in 2.5 years because of it. And, you know, in some of these decisions from the Supreme Court, it says it's a man's job to teach his son how to use a gun. So, you know, I've been deprived of my constitutional rights to be a father to my sons. And that's absolutely wrong. For standing up for freedom for Floridians, you know, all Floridians.
That's a hell of a sacrifice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I wanted to ask you, like, I know, like, that's a way bigger sacrifice than what I was about to ask you about. But, like, I know you said you had some pro bono help. Were there some underlying legal fees or costs going to court, or, you know, losing if you lost your job or able to be unemployed? And now it sounds like you're no longer in Florida. You've relocated to North Carolina. Like, could you put a dollar amount on how much you've been deprived of your livelihood over the past 3 years trying to fight for this?
Like, the lawyers may have been free, but life wasn't.
Yeah, but and like going back to what Tub's saying is, like, a lot of us with families and children and a job that, which most of us probably hate their jobs like I do, but still, I'd love to. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm just saying, like, there is a dollar amount on that, and could you, I don't know, ballpark it? How much it's cost you? Just wages, I guess, however you want to define that.
You know, there's definitely some lost opportunities. You know, I've been working for myself for probably the past 8 to 10 years, you know, with my own company. And there's definitely a lot of lost opportunities there. I've done some subcontracting through some national, international providers, which I was cut off from that because of a background check. I just did a job interview. I'm a little bit worried about what that background check is going to come back if I'm going to continue to be employed. So, you know, we're probably in the $500,000 to $750,000 range in the last years, you know, so I've lost opportunity and lost income. And that doesn't even count the more than a year I've done in jail since. I'm thankful. I still have my truck when I got out on December 26th of 2025. So I still got my 99 F-250, and I'm thankful for that. So,
well,
yeah,
I just want people to kind of get this perspective. Like, imagine a guy makes a very poor, dumb decision to, like, go drive drunk, gets a DUI, loses his license for a year, court costs, all the things, tears up his family, and then there's a guy fighting for your constitutional rights, and the judicial system puts him through the same ringer that somebody who makes a poor decision. You know what I mean? Like, what Stan did here is a great decision on behalf of all Floridians that want to exercise their right to open carry. You know what I mean? And just think of that judicial system and that it's the same, whether it's a good decision or bad decision. They're going to treat you poorly either way.
And I think it's just a level, and I don't like to use the term at all, but it's a level of bullying. It's just a level of where they're just going to try to force you into what they want you to do. And I think they listen. I wouldn't be surprised if this was intentionally dragged out to make you miserable and make you have to go through things through the process. And if nothing else, it's not even at that point. It wasn't about you. It's about, hey, don't let anybody else try this. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what happens. I think yours actually turns into a perfect example of where people go, you know what? That dude got dragged through all kinds of stuff. And listen, I can't do that. I'm not going to worry about it. And it works, unfortunately.
Yeah. Not in our favor.
Well,
usually.
Right.
shameless plug, but my Cash App is that right there.
There it is.
There you go, people, guys. Let's try and raise this man $750,000 real
Listen,
quick.
if we can give somebody $25 because
Yeah.
they're running for office,
Buy this man a
we
coffee.
can probably do $25 for somebody
Get
to
him a-
help us get to constitutional carry.
Yeah.
Is
Dude,
this
I mean,
a
like,
put your money where your memes are moment
It
right here?
sounds kind of like it, to be honest.
Put
with
it
you.
up there. Put it in the comments.
Hey, put it in the
Someone-
comments there, Marcus.
Yes,
Somebody
yes,
put
yes.
it-
I
Yes,
put it on there right now.
Yes, I'm doing it right now, sir.
Stan.
You and
dude.
Gavin.
All right. So.
All right. So what is honestly like? So now, what do you do? What's life like for you now and moving forward? Because you did lose stuff.
And or like the law changed because of your case. It wasn't like the legislature passed this phony baloney. People called it constitutional carry in Florida, but it was really permitless concealed carry in Florida.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it wasn't really constitutional carry, but because of you tacked onto it at the end. And I sorry, Tub, to cut you off, but like,
No, you're good.
Do you think that like when constitutional carry was getting passed, your case was probably already in the judicial system? And do you think I'm assuming I don't know the timeline, but do you think that like the writing was on the wall? Like, look, if this Republican legislature doesn't pass some form of constitutional carry, this one guy standing up for our freedom is going to get it.
It's gonna ruin us.
You know what I mean?
Was that 2023 they did? Yeah, I was screaming, this is not constitutional carry.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is bullshit. This is a lie. This is not constitutional carry. So I remember that distinctly. So I think that it's a great thing for Floridians. Don't get me wrong there, to be able to carry concealed without a permit. I think that it creates some murky waters when it comes to nationally, because number one, even if you did have your concealed weapons permit, which you still can get, you still can apply for that permit and get it through the state of Florida. Only, I think last I looked, it was only 38 states that reciprocated. And so I think we still need some kind of, law for reciprocation. I think if you travel to California as an American, whether you're from,
I be covered.
I should be able to buy a fucking gun too. Okay.
Yeah.
But right now you can only buy a gun in the state that you're from. What kind of bullshit is that? You know?
Yeah.
So
And
like I always keep my concealed carry because sometimes for reciprocity only. So when I go to another state,
If you were in New York, you'd be fucked.
Yes, we've actually talked about that many times.
Yeah.
Marcus talks about that.
Yeah, my son went to college in New York, and when we had Larry Sharp on here, I said I hated every minute of it because New York does not allow you to defend yourself. I couldn't even carry a pocket knife in New York without the threat of a felony charge and doing 10 years under their SAFE Act. So it's just absolutely ridiculous that these states only allow certain types of self-defense. There's only one type of self-defense, and that's absolute.
Yeah, and that's where I become a bit of a federalist, right? But I don't think the Fed has been doing their job in keeping these states in check with all these laws that they continue to pass, and that's supposed to be their job. Hey, you can't do this law. That's unconstitutional. You know, that's supposed to be the Fed's job, and they haven't been doing that job. They've been letting these states run rampant, and they continue to. Like I think is it Virginia that just did their or what state was that? You know, and it's just
Virginia's going after assault weapons now.
Yeah.
West Virginia's trying to pass a law to be able to sell machine guns. So what's up, West Virginia?
They're going the other way. Yep.
Well, that's why they split for him in the Civil War, because they're like, man, you guys are on some bullshit.
Country road, take me home, baby.
but here's the thing, like what we're talking about right there is, so like I said, I keep my concealed carry. I keep it anyway. I should, and I've been saying this for a while, and I know I'm not the only one, but like if I have a concealed carry out of Florida, I should be able to go and carry anywhere across the country.
Yes.
So even if we don't want to say open carry and all those type of things, I'm fine with that. But my permit should be universal. My driver's license is universal. I get it issued in Florida, but I can drive anywhere I want to. So I don't understand why. And let's be very clear. driving is not a constitutional right. Okay.
Yeah.
But my carrying a weapon is. And yet it's funny. So if I have this, I should be allowed to be able to go wherever I want with this. And this has been kind of my argument. So here's what we need you to do, Stan. I need you to start making that, Stan. I need you to be willing to go to jail for a few more years and, kind of go through the mess so that I can go
drive
to
through all
with my
50
gun,
states?
all right?
Stan, are you busy?
What
Fire
do you got
up
going
that
on for the next few
F-250.
years?
I'll buy the first tank of gas. But
All right,
seriously,
there's
we'll
the
get the
link
plumber.
right there.
There's the plan.
seriously though, Thomas Massey's got a national constitutional carry bill or whatever. I don't know that.
It's national reciprocity, and they tried to do this in 2017, and the turtle Mitch McConnell would not bring it to the Senate floor.
Yeah,
because it passed the House.
You got a Republican everything right now, and you can't at least get that to the floor.
They don't want
push it for a vote. Well,
they've done this before. I have little faith that this will actually happen, especially
not going anywhere.
Especially since the Republicans are more than likely going to lose the House in November at their current pace.
And they're going to lose it by trying to force Thomas Massey out.
I do understand this move by the Republicans to want to force Massey out, by Trump to want to force Massey out and fund against him. I really don't understand this move by the Republicans because I'll tell you, from what I've seen of Massey, I'm a real big fan. I got to meet him when Matt Gaetz was running for re-election, probably 2022, the same year I was running in 2022. And he told me to keep fighting. And I got a picture with him and Matt Gaetz. And surprisingly enough, Matt Gaetz' father, as the senator in Florida, the Florida state senator, he put a bill forward in 2015 for open carry. And of course, it got denied back then. And Matt Gaetz, my favorite bill from Matt Gaetz was the National Stand Your Ground Law. And get this one, all right? Forcible felonies that now this didn't pass, okay? This didn't pass, but he did present this bill. And forcible felonies that you can defend yourself with deadly force. And the first one listed, you want to guess what it was? Treason.
Treason.
I mean, that takes some balls by Matt to put that bill forward on the floor. All right, I just have a lot of respect for that one.
Now I want to get to this comment real quick, Tub, because this is something that you've also worked on. Republicans, this is from the Scientific Libertarian. Republicans still think smoking marijuana should void you of your Second Amendment rights. The dirty red coats are everywhere. Now, you actually were working on this as well in Florida, weren't you not?
Yes, I was. So, all right, I want to preface this with, I think the bill that they were trying to put forth is complete bullshit. It is, corporate greed, but they're paying lots of money to get these people out there petitioning, and they're putting a lot of money behind these bills, and they're writing a bunch of protections in for themselves. I think that this shouldn't be a corporation's job. I think this should be the state of Florida legislators' job to do, to put forth this constitutional amendment to the Florida. But I think that marijuana being illegal or even scheduled is unconstitutional in itself. Our Declaration of Independence was written on hemp paper. Okay, marijuana has a long history right here in the United States of America. I mean, I don't know what you think they were smoking in that peace pipe, but I bet you it was weed. And, and I'm sure all our founding fathers, a lot of them already, they were growing hemp. Okay, so they knew about this plant. It has a history in our country, and it was a man with a pharmaceutical company, a media company, and a pulp paper company that started the, the whole marijuana is bad. Whatever they call
Reefer Madness.
Reefer Madness. That's it.
Prohibition. Yeah.
And so I think this is a failure of our legislature. I have a buddy who had his concealed weapons permit. He went and got his marijuana license, and now his concealed weapons permit is no more, and he can't even buy a gun because of his state marijuana license. And so he's got to have it gone for a year. He's got to be without his license for a year before he can even think about getting his gun rights back. And that process is still not even known yet about him getting his gun rights back. And he called before he got his marijuana license. He called. Nikki Fried was still in charge then. And she said that they were not going to be pursuing this marijuana and guns thing. Okay, but since Nikki Fried's been replaced, they have pursued it.
Yep.
And now any Floridian that has gotten that medical marijuana card, please someone correct me if I'm wrong, they can't even buy a gun.
You are correct. It's the same way in California.
There's a quote from Nikki Fried when they asked her, are you going to prosecute people for Second Amendment violations if they're smoking marijuana? And her exact quote was, before Tubb ran as lieutenant governor as a libertarian, was, I'm actually somewhat of a libertarian on this issue. She said that about herself. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, we're not going after it.
Yeah, my friend was on the phone with her office and had these responses from her that his gun rights were not going to be affected. And then the change of administration.
Yep. And then the Republicans swooped in and gave him all that freedom.
We got to protect people from themselves, right?
Yeah. Side note, the Supreme Court is hearing they heard arguments on that. Can you smoke weed and own a firearm this week? So there is something going before the Supreme Court, but it's the same way in California. If you had a marijuana prescription and you owned a firearm, you were catching hella charges, and oftentimes they would refer you to the feds because it's a huge federal prohibition. So that whole the thing I never understood, you could go buy a gallon of wild turkey, throw that back to the neck, and still sit there with a shotgun. I think wild turkey is far more dangerous than some OG Kush. Tubb, what do you think?
I'm reading right here. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed unless they have marijuana or a felony. and like this has thrown me off for quite some time because the arguments that you just made there, Marcus, in all reality, alcohol in a gun is far more dangerous than weed in a gun. Now, bear in mind, I don't smoke. I never have smoked. But the idea, listen, the people that I know that smoke a lot, the last thing they are trying to do is go commit a gun crime. Like they're too busy just sitting there watching the Three Stooges, like just losing their minds.
Are you talking about me? Because I don't smoke.
But here's the argument that I've been making with people, like, yeah, but what about felons? Like, oh, hang on. Do you understand that there's a number of felons who don't even have violent crimes? Like, they're not even violent crimes. And so you look at it, you go, you understand that there are white-collar felonies. Yeah. And these people...
Peaceful felonies.
Yes. And they can't have a gun. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me, because all it really is about how do we snatch them? How do we get them away?
Yeah. The Supreme Court ruled against nonviolent felons a couple years ago, within the last couple of years, which I thought was absolutely ludicrous. Because if you have a financial crime, that is in no way, you've done harm, but that is in no way indicative of you having a violent personality.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, go ahead.
Listen, look, I know we're getting close to time. I know because we're trying to keep on clock. I know we're getting close to time, but are we at a point now where we're all in agreement that we're fine to let Stan go to prison for a few more years in order that we can, like, are we all together on this?
Look, honestly, like, I feel like Stan's done enough. Can we sacrifice the next freedom fighter?
Put some money on his books. If you're going to say that, put some money on his books.
Start a poll on Twitter and asking, is it time for us to allow Stan
I just want to know,
go to prison a little longer?
Before we move forward in the next 6 minutes of this podcast, which I can stay a little late. I don't know if anybody else can. But either way, Stan, is there anything about the story we've missed? Like,
yeah.
I want to preface this with, is the only way to change the law in America to get arrested? Like, is there not a way to sue the
Wow, yeah.
government without getting arrested?
I think there might be some other ways to sue the government without getting arrested, but unfortunately, that
It's not
can be
effective.
very cost prohibitive because
Yeah.
the state has unlimited budget, right?
Yeah.
And so you don't, and
Yeah.
and that is tough, you know. And even if you're taking it to the Fed and suing through the Fed, the state, and you're fighting the state and the Fed, and you're going up against two unlimited budgets. And so, you know, I'm definitely not telling anybody to go out there and get arrested to try and change the law. But
Well,
still a few states out there that don't have open carry, and
maybe do it in those states.
in some of those liberal states, the fight might be a lot harder because your courts may be, you know, steering more towards the ban, and you might have to take it all the way through the state Supreme Court and then to the federal. And you know, that would be very cost prohibitive. Thankfully, I had a governor here in Florida that was for it. I had an attorney general here in Florida that was for it. And so it doesn't have to go any further than the District Court of Appeals. And that's what you got to look at, because 3 years just past the District Court of Appeals. And then again, you have to also look at the relationships closest to you, because those are the relationships that this has hurt the most with me. And you know, I've also got 6 more appeals in on what I believe to be unconstitutional Florida red flag laws. And so we'll see about that. The sheriff has 30 of my guns and refuses to release them to any of my relatives. So, but the Pensacola Police Department did release the 1 gun in this case to my mom, because I can't, it would be a felony for me to possess a firearm at this particular moment in time.
Jeez.
Would they feel better giving it to me? I mean, I am still in Florida, and if they feel comfortable about releasing them to me, I'll take them. Like, I'm not against it. I'm willing to help the cause by taking the guns that the government shouldn't have of yours. So if you find out that's the best way, let's see how we can make that happen. I'll take them for you.
Yeah, we've already tried this.
All right.
Yeah, but do they know who Tubb is? I'm just kidding.
Like, hey, it's tough.
So
they're going by their policy, and you know, they can't release them. But my guns were taken without a hearing. I said I will not give my guns up. They arrested me. I didn't have a gun on me at the moment because I was in the sheriff's department getting served with the injunction, and but I refused to give my guns up. They arrested me, and the next day I bailed out, and under threat, under you know, color of law, I gave up my guns to the sheriff's department, and as soon as I got out of jail, because now I'm under, you know, threat of future and more arrests, and I still was convicted of that crime. You know, that's one of the crimes I've been convicted of right there, just for refusing without a hearing. And you know, Section 922G, 18 USC 922G says you have to have a hearing. But even the hearings in Florida, how they run those hearings, are unconstitutional, and judges regularly rule and abuse their discretion. I'll give you one case that's an example. It's Hobbs v. Hobbs, and it was a case that was appealed. These injunctions are permanent, which means until further order of the court. And so in Hobbs v. Hobbs, you have a divorce that was going bad. You know, the husband agrees to the restraining order, and so it's in place. They finish the divorce. Husband thinks it's all said and done. Lo and behold, 20 years later, he goes to apply for his concealed weapons permit, and he's denied because he has an active restraining order in Florida. And then, so he files to have it dissolved. He goes before the local court, and that was Judge John Miller, Chief Judge John Miller, which ruled against me in one of my cases as well. And he says, the woman comes to the court and she says, "I'm still afraid. There's been some trying to contact me through third parties. It's probably a lie when you read through some of the decision there." And the judge denies them to get this restraining order dissolved. Says, if you want to bring it back before me in the future, we'll hear it again. So he appeals, and the District Court of Appeals rules that he abused his discretion in not dissolving this 20-year-old injunction, where he violated it, committed a felony by going and taking his class and shooting a gun while he was taking his concealed weapons class. But thankfully he wasn't charged with that.
So what's funny is I went through that very same situation, what you're saying right there. So my ex-wife, she got mad. Okay, I never had no history of violence. I never did. So she went to get a restraining order against me. Now at the time, didn't have a concealed carry, didn't have any of this stuff. So she went and did that. So here's what happened. It's very similar to what you said. So we went to court, and I remember that this is what happened. The judge was like, "There's no reason here. There's no reason here for an injunction. There's no reason for a restraining order. It's not necessary." And this is what I said. I said, "Hang on." I said, "If there's an injunction, does that mean she can't bother me either?" And they're like, "Yeah, that's exactly." I said, "Keep it." I said, "Keep that sucker next. I want her to leave me alone." And so they did. And then we're talking years later, like years. I'd already been remarried for years and everything, you know what I'm saying? And I remember I wanted to go get a concealed carry permit, and I couldn't. So we had to go back. Her and I had to go back to the judge together and go in and sit in front of the judge. And then the whole time, this is what bothered me. As we're sitting there at this point, listen, I came to Christ. I'm a pastor. My life changed completely. And she's sitting there and she's saying, "Yes, I believe Pastor Tubb is okay." Like, she's like, "We're good. It's fine." And the judge kept like trying to get her to say, "Well, are you sure?" Like, he asked her like 4 different times. And then finally,
we're good.
Goes, "Yeah." And he looks at her and he goes, "Well, and he's looking at me and goes, 'There's nothing coercing you.'" And I'm like, "Dude, he's trying to keep it in place." And I'm just like, and finally it went through and it got done. I was able to go through the process, but it's there. And it's like anything they can do. And truly, that judge was trying to get her to keep it in place.
Well, you kind of look like Ike Turner. I got to say, if Ike Turner
you gotta be careful,
lacked any
you're
melanin,
going to jail. All right, let's be very clear. You're going to jail. You ain't getting an injunction. You're going to jail. All right?
Well, I know that. That's why I'm trying to keep everything kosher on my end. But it's amazing to me that when you stand up for yourself in the system, they take that personal. They're like, how dare you? And we call ourselves a republic. I posted it the other day on the Facebook page. I don't think we're a republic anymore. I think we have lost that moniker on this nation, because I don't know exactly where we are, but it's damn sure not a republic, because a republic is of, for, and by the people. We are not of, for, and by the people whatsoever.
Marcus, we got some hilarious comments I haven't seen on the screen. You have to run them back. And in the meantime, while you're popping them up there, Stan, I kind of want to, and I know we're over time, but this is a great episode. I'm having a lot of fun. This is very informational. Stan, I hope you have time. I hope we're not keeping you from anything. Let us know if you got to go.
No, yeah, I'm good, man. I'm solid.
Tubb, let us know if you got to go.
I got to get ready too, but I'm good for a minute.
All right, Stan, I kind of want to get back to that whole, like, how to change the law issue, not going to jail. Your person in Florida that lost their concealed carry and their right to own a firearm because of their state allowed medical marijuana card. Is there a way they can sue the state of Florida? And are they interested in that? And is that something like your pro bono attorneys or guy, Eric Friday, go look him up. He's legit. Would he be willing to, like, take that case and sue the state? Flip it. Can we put one of them in jail? No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, I think we should be putting a lot of them in jail. But, I don't know that there's a pro bono lawyer that would be willing to take that case.
Institute for Justice, y'all listening? Tag them in the comments.
Yeah, if you know one. I think this is kind of funny. It's hard to find a constitutional lawyer. but shouldn't they all be
Constitutional lawyers.
Yeah, that's kind of
Yeah,
should be a requirement.
Isn't that kind of your whole purpose and everything that you're doing is based off of that?
Put
So
it in the comments if you'll fund me going to law school. Elon Law's right down the road. Wake Forest has a law school. It's expensive, so I need some contributions.
and if open carry is still illegal in your state, I'm sure there's an amount I would be willing to go and break the law in your state for.
What's the status in North Carolina?
We're open carry here.
Okay.
Dude, I rolled up like I didn't know I'm from Florida, where it used to be illegal before Stan sacrificed his entire livelihood and life and everything. So, like, we were at a gas station. There's some lady, kind of looks like she's a burnout. She's open carrying, and I thought that must be a cop, and she's undercover because she why would you? It didn't make sense. She didn't look like she was in the greatest position in life, but her gun was showing open out and everything, and I just wasn't used to seeing it. I was like, that's weird, but apparently you could do it here, and I'm cool with it. Obviously, but I just wasn't used to seeing it. I've been here a week. You know what I mean? From Florida, new to North Carolina. Hey, who's that? You know what I mean? That type of situation.
Well, here in California, it's actually going through our court system right now. And it's interesting enough, prior to the Bruin case, California said you had to jump through these hurdles to get your CCW because it was legal to open carry here in California. But their version of open carry, you cannot have one in a pipe. So that just makes zero sense to start with.
Yes.
But I'd
rather have one in the pipe concealed carry, I think.
Yeah, I believe this is covered in Bruin, as well as the one out of DC. Oh gosh,
Heller.
Yeah, I believe that's addressed in both of those.
Yeah. So the logic behind California is like you have to show good cause to get a CCW because you can open carry. So what California did after they won that case, they went forward and banned open carry. So they technically destroyed their own logic by banning open carry after they won that case. And then Bruin, now in California, you can get your CCW. It's not really an issue. It's just kind of pricey. You're going to pay over $500 to get your CCW here in California. But now they're going back. But I'm literally afraid to open carry here in California because our police officers are not trained on CCWs, let alone open carry.
Yeah.
So I think it would be perilous.
Black guys open carrying.
Yeah.
You know?
Honestly, if I was to open carry, I'd wear my soft body armor underneath my shirt. I am not bullshitting whatsoever when I say that. No chances. no chances whatsoever.
Ow!
If I could call you a pussy real quick with some case law.
Here you go.
This is McDaniels versus State of Florida, all right? And they quoted another case here in my case. And it says, the law against concealed carry interfered with no man's right to carry arms. To use its words, in full open view, which places men upon an equality. This is the right guaranteed by the Constitution of the United States, and which is calculated to incite men to a manly defense of themselves, if necessary, and of their country, without any tendency to secret advantages and unmanly assassinations. So that was written by 3 women, you fucking pussy.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm not trying to get shot. I got a big head as it is. It's a great target.
But it's a good target.
Yeah.
Okay.
In California, nobody's used to that. Now, we can go to Nevada and Arizona and see it all day long, but here in California, I don't live. Well, my county is kind of dark purplish going red right now. The city I live in is extremely red, but there is a aspect because I point to Philando Castile. and he was in Minnesota, which is also a blue state. He informed the officer that he had a CCW because that's what you're supposed to do. The officer freaked out and ended his life, and he had no recourse. Now, if you're talking about, if they start shooting at me, return fire, that's one thing. But
that's a different.
Our government, and I'll point to you, the government has failed you, because once you stood up for the right thing, they came after you. And it's the same thing with firearms, because what's their number one excuse? I feared for my life. They use that under any circumstance because they know that gives them blanket immunity. Qualified immunity is also a whole semi truck full of horse plop, because it relieves them of any responsibility. And if you don't know, cops should know the Constitution better than anybody other than the lawyer. Wow. And so when we talk about the police in this situation, we have to talk about training them and bringing them up to speed on laws. And your case is a prime example.
I think what's even better is just citizens knowing the Constitution better, like our guy Stan McDaniels here. If there wasn't someone that knew it, and I want to go find the audit video now and watch them give you your A. Thank God for people like you, Stan. I also, I know we're over time, but I'm having a lot of fun here. Are you really tight with those 3 female judges now? Like, did you go look them up after you? But before they came out, you're like, I'm toast. And then afterwards, like, who are these based women? You know what I mean? Like that say,
I like that robe, baby. What's under that robe?
Love the Constitution. You know what I mean? Like I'm just saying, be like, OMG, where they go to school, what they learn. This is awesome. Like, I don't know. I'm not.
And do they really think that Marcus is a sissy?
But, yeah. Like, I'm just saying, like, and do you want to name drop them? Can we put them in for Supreme Court justices? Like, come on, let's go. Look, I would love for my daughter. I told my wife, I was like, hey, look, she could be a Supreme Court justice. She's like, why are you putting that difficult? Anyways, that's the heavy weight to carry. But I'm just saying, you know their names, or who are they?
I don't know their names off the top of my head. Sorry. I'm sure.
Well, can we find it on your case or your appeal, I guess?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it's on the appeal.
Yeah, it's the whole thing is on Florida.gov, something like that. You'll see Florida versus
somebody
McDaniels.
Put in links. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I was pleasantly surprised, but unfortunately I don't know them. I can't really know them. I still have 6 more appeals before the First District Court of Appeals.
Maybe you'll get some of them.
So
again, I don't know.
Yeah, that's quite possible. They do rotate those judges, but they may be good picks for the Supreme Court, quite possibly even federal court. Because like in the recent California decision, it was 2-1. Well, there's one judge that's got to go, right? So yeah, it definitely doesn't need to make it to the next level for sure, right? Yep. So yeah, I think that this is where Americans are dropping the ball the most, is where we're getting these judges, we're leaving these decisions, and like when you see it on your ballot in Florida anyway, it's, do you want to keep this judge? Yes or no?
Yeah.
And it's in the 90% yes. Okay, it's 95+% yes on every judge, just about, to stay in office. And so people are just blindly putting them back in office. Of course, in the past, I have done a pretty bad job at this myself, and I'm just always voting no on all of them.
That's what I do.
That's what I do.
Everybody's no. If I don't know them, it's no.
Yeah, I figured that's probably better than saying yes. So, but because it's really hard to keep up with all this stuff at the local level, and then a lot of times some of these judges are appointed. The jury's still out on one that I recently had take over one of my cases here in Escambia County, and he was DeSantis appointed. The jury's still kind of out on that one. I have a transcript from him on a little tirade. I need to go back and read it, but he didn't agree with me. But I guess that's sometimes a judge's job to do. So we'll see how it feels. But yeah, it's really who shapes your community. Judges.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, like that Liberty lady said, it's local over national every time. And I don't think enough people pay attention to it because a lot of these people are just talking heads for their party. You need to truly look into who you're voting for. Now, as we start to wrap this up, I'm going to pass it off to Tub for his final question, comments, and all that good stuff.
Dude, I got none of it. I got
You got nothing?
So it just real quick, what is your future? Do you see you pursuing stuff like this further? Or you're like, dude, I just want to get back to normal again.
Right. Yeah, I'm 2 months out of jail today. So I'm still kind of trying to get back on my feet here. I've thankfully got a place to stay here in North Carolina. I've had some family, some distant family, help me out here. I'm here taking care of my father, who's not in the greatest position right now. He's 73, up there in age. So I'm trying to get that situation worked out with him here in North Carolina. Just trying to get back on my feet. If I am going to run for anything, it's probably going to be for 2028. But where and what office, I really don't know. But I do want to stay involved. But I just need a break from it all right now.
Yeah.
Figure.
All right, so we're not putting you up to go do federal stuff, to go to federal prison for us. We're taking it off the table, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're not down.
Let's raise enough money and.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna put put your handle back up.
In the commissary.
There it is.
And
put the money on his books.
Put them on them.
Listen, it was my duty.
Toilet paper, cigarettes.
Yeah. It was my duty, and at the end of the day, if I had to go back, I wouldn't change a damn thing.
Well, there you go.
Sweet. Eric,
Stan,
what do you got?
Yeah, I don't want to put this pressure on you, but have you ever considered going to law school? And
I've had a lot of people.
I'm just saying, the law. You're well-read, well-spoken, intelligent, and you got brass balls, brother. You know what I mean? That's who we need. And I get it. Law school's expensive. So put them books back up there, Marcus.
Put the money on the books.
Put the money on his books, his law school books. Come on.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, have you ever thought about that?
I've had quite a few people, mention that to me, not just through my time in jail, but free people as well, and man, that's, I already have my bachelor's degree, so I imagine it wouldn't be too much. And Florida actually made a change that the Florida bar is not the only one that can issue the credentials. Okay. I think that this is a massive opportunity for a different entity to step up and start issuing the credentials to become a lawyer outside of the Florida bar, because there's a lot of corruption, and there's a lot of corruption when you're the only gig in town. And so I think that this is a massive opportunity, and we need the next generation of lawyers, because here's one of the questions that my lawyers asked the law school students at my oral argument. They asked, how many of you are first generation law students? And half of the people raised their hands. So there's a real opportunity to steer these younger students into practicing more constitutional law and stepping up for the people and not just the money. So I think that this is a great opportunity for the state of Florida and the rest of the nation to follow in Florida's footsteps here and get a new institution outside of the bar to do some American registry, not British. All right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, America. Hey,
so I have thought about it.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. I kind of got that vibe from you. Not trying to be weird. Anyway, speaking of not trying to be weird, Stan, You're like 45 minutes at most down the road from me. I'm gonna get your contact information from Marcus if that's cool, and maybe we could chop it up. I like local craft beer. Don't know about you. We'll go get a local craft beer.
Sounds
Break
great.
bread together.
Listen, you said you didn't want to get creepy with it, and then you basically.
Yeah.
Not trying to be weird, but will you go on a date?
Get a
with me?
room.
I'm just kidding.
Get a room, fun boy.
Listen, he said there he goes, listen, I don't want to make us weird, but
Not trying to be weird,
Yeah.
but don't have
I
any
hear-
friends here.
I hear you
You
just
did-
out of
you-
jail.
you-
What,
All
you
right.
want a date?
All right,
That doesn't come
Marcus,
across.
You did not say no Diddy. So
All right,
we're just gonna
Marcus, wrap this up. Don't take too
Please.
long.
No,
Go ahead.
Marcus,
No.
please wrap this up.
I just wanted to know, out of this whole ordeal that you went through, what was the most profound lesson that you learned?
The most profound lesson that I learned, man, that our system is fucked.
No, man.
And I'm,
Oh, I didn't
Blackfielded
have to go to
right
jail
there
for
at the
that
end.
one.
you know, I'm sorry. It seems like y'all don't like using too much profanity.
I
so-
do.
Up
I
the
just
pastor.
it's the
It's
tough.
just me. It's
It's
just
only
Yeah, yeah.
But you know, I do believe in Jesus, and you know, the Bible's a lot of my leading light here in this life. But I'm at this point where I just don't give a damn, and
Yeah.
you know, it's time for some people to start flipping some tables, and the tables need to get flipped.
Well, we need a lot of Liberty John the Baptist too, because he was out of the sphere of the mainstream.
don't, Marcus, just don't. Don't.
Yeah,
don't. Just because
my
your
dad was a deacon.
don't try it,
My
Marcus.
dad was a
You just-
deacon, and John the Baptist was one of my favorite characters because
We
he was
don't need
wild.
your California Christianity. All right, we're good. All right.
No, this is Southern Baptist. My parents are from Mobile, so we're not that far from Stan's neck of the woods. But yeah, I think you summed that up pretty great on our government, because our government, they suck.
Uh-huh.
They really suck. So Stan, is there, you know, we put up your, what link was this? What was this?
Cash
attached
App.
to?
You can find me on Cash
Cash
App,
App.
the One Man Stand, and that's my handle for X and Facebook, the One Man Stand. You can find me there. I have Buy Me a Coffee / the One Man Stand. So you know, there's a couple different links on my X account there that you can give to. It's all appreciated. I'm like I said, I'm climbing out of this valley, but it's all going to be good. So
Yeah,
guys,
I truly thank you, Stan. I truly appreciate, you know, we always try to raise money for our libertarian candidates, but this is somebody that actually has done more than a lot of libertarians that have actually got elected.
He left the garage and the keyboard.
Well, this is my mission. My mission is to spread the good word of liberty. So you can besmirch my my activities all you want to, but this is what I was called to do, is to
Listen.
platform people doing the right thing.
I want to make it very clear. You just use besmirch, and I can assure you that your fellow Negro, Gavin Newsom, is not using words like besmirch.
Hey,
All right?
I just want to put this out there. I got a higher SAT score than Gavin Newsom, so he could kick rocks.
That's because
when
you're
he's talking
whiter
about-
than he is. That's why.
Oh, that's a load of horse plot. But like my guy Stan said, the One Man Stand, shoot him some funds, help this guy out. He helped you out, especially you Florida people. You know, he didn't cook the best meth, and I know that's going to upset a lot of people in Florida. What he did do was bring open carry, because there was technically, you could open carry if you were fishing or hunting or whatever it was in Florida. And I've seen a lot of videos on people with fishing poles walking around with AR-15s. He just changed the whole game in the state of Florida, where you guys took a step closer to liberty there. You still got a long way to go. First and foremost, getting rid of your governor.
And let's be very clear.
He's term limited.
You made an assumption there, Marcus. You don't know what kind of meth he was cooking. It could have been the best stuff down here. You don't know. He never mentioned.
Well, yeah,
it.
that's
Don't make
true.
the assumption. All right.
Because that's the only thing you guys can cook good. That's the only thing you guys season is your meth.
those damn Mexican Americans. And
Hey,
I just want to give a big shout out to Joe Hanush.
yes.
Man, you do a lot for the state of Florida too, and the Libertarian Party really appreciates you. Thanks for helping me get out on this podcast.
Thank you. I want to give a shout out to my guy Free and Amity for checking in with us. Those are good people down there in the state of Florida doing good work. As of
scientific libertarian.
Is he from Florida too?
But that Liberty lady is, if she, I don't know.
Yeah. And Terry Batts.
Terry Batts is.
Once again, we want to give a shout out to our main guy, Tub. Tub for 10. He's running for office. We're gonna have him on guest on.
I'm the guest in 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I'm the guest.
Actually, approximately a month away. Right. And Stan, thank you for changing your schedule up to fit in, because you were slated for that slot.
Yeah, I'm taking your day. I'm taking the one that he was originally scheduled for.
So thank you very much. Okay, so Scientific Libertarian is from Iowa, and didn't we have somebody on from Iowa? I don't know. Just corn and pigs there.
Go back and watch other episodes, Scientific. Just kidding. You've been here.
Marcus,
you're consistent.
All right. So with that being said, Stan, do you have any closing statement that you want to tell the people to sell yourself or anything else that you wanted to mention before we wrap this up?
Freedom's worth fighting for.
There you go.
Great statement. Great statement. With that being said, yeah, my guy shows up.
Look, all right. Say hi there. There it is.
There you go. Spider-Man's in the house. That's Spider-Man.
That's what I'm talking about.
Or is that Deadpool? Oh, it's Spider-Man. All right, cool.
Oh, you're not saying it. Okay, say bye to all of them.
Okay. So with that being said, this has been the Black Powder Podcast, the only real libertarian podcast. And like we always say when we end this,
watch this. Ready? Hang on.
Live free.
Free. Say or die.
Or die.
Die.
Or die.
There it is.
There you go.
That's
This is the Black Powder Podcast, coming at you live and direct. Your salty tears season my life. It's the Black Powder Podcast.